Okay, and so we are going to go on the record in the matter of the state of Michigan versus Thomas Semple, 231698. And Detective Sergeant Grote, your name for the record, please.
Detective Sergeant Ken Grote.
All right, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear from the testimony about to give in this matter be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may proceed on the warrant.
The White Police Department received several anonymous tips that Thomas Semple is involved in the sales of narcotics. Information is that Semple lives at 361 Middle, apartment 14 in the city of Wyandotte. Link check and surveillance confirmed that Mr. Semple does live at 361 Middle. A check of the in-house computer shows 5 different drug-related arrests for Mr. Semple since March of 2017 between Trenton Police Department and MSP Drano. Criminal history of Mr. Semple shows 3 felony drug convictions, and there's 2 felony drug cases currently in Wayne County 3rd Circuit. On July 3rd, 2023, Officer 8 Grote was patrolling the area at 361 Middle, and he observed a vehicle exit the car wash directly across the street from 361. Officer Grote made a traffic stop on the vehicle and arrested the passenger for possession of methamphetamine and fentanyl. Both the driver and the passenger of the vehicle stated that the meth was purchased from Mr. Semple. I was contacted by CI number 135, who stated he or she could buy methamphetamine from Semple. I made arrangements for Semple to get picked up, and when he was brought to the police station. Once at the Wyandotte Police Station, CI 135 was brought to the detective bureau, where he was searched and made sure he had no narcotics, paraphernalia, or money located on his person. Nothing was found on his person. This should be noted, this happened Wednesday night, July 5th, approximately 10 o'clock p.m. I introduced the CI to Officer Judge, who was working in undercover capacity, and they were given $100 in pre-recorded Wyandotte police funds. The CI and the EUC officer arrived at the parking lot of 360, or they contacted Mr. Semple and arranged for a purchase of $100 of methamphetamine. UC officer drove to the parking lot with the CI. They parked on the south side. Mr. Semple exited the apartment building, came to the vehicle, spoke with both the CI and undercover officer. The undercover officer recognized Mr. Semple from prior contacts. Semple and CI entered the apartment building. They entered apartment number 14. I was able to enter the building through the unlocked side door, walk to the basement where apartment 14 is located, and I could hear the CI and Mr. Semple talking inside the apartment. After approximately 10 minutes, the CI exited the building, returned to the car, and provided the UC officer with the folded up receipt that contained a crystal-like substance that was later tested positive to be methamphetamine. Back to the police station, the CI was searched again, and no drugs, contraband, or money was located on him. I prepared a search warrant for 361 Middle, apartment 14. The search warrant was reviewed by APR Omar Cesare and signed by 27 District Court Magistrate Pat Master Giacomo. On Thursday, July 6, 2023, a briefing was held at the Wyandotte Police Station for the search warrant to be executed at 361 Middle, apartment 14. Several officers were present during the briefing, and at 21:05 hours, officers executed the search warrant. Had to force entry. We announced our presence at 14. We forced entry. As we entered the apartment, they encountered 2 people, a female and Mr. Semple. As officers Stromberg, Gardaki, Adam Grote, and Tyler Grote entered the bedroom, Semple appeared to be smoking some types of narcotics, blew the smoke in the direction of Officer Stromberg, refused to get on the ground, had to be forced to the ground while he was holding a knife in his hand. Mr. Semple was taken into custody in the bedroom where Mr. Semple was located. On the table and on the floor, officers located a total of 18.74 grams of field tested positive methamphetamine and a total of 2.43 grams of cocaine, a digital scale with white residue on it, 2 cell phones, numerous crack pipes and meth pipes, and a wallet belonging to Mr. Semple that had his Michigan driver's license in it. In the kitchen, officers recovered numerous used crack and meth pipes, 2 digital scales with white residue on it, and residency belonging to Mr. Semple. And it should be noted that Mr. Semple has a lengthy criminal history, dating back to, again, like I said, 2017 through March of 2023, with all drug convictions in Wayne County.
Okay, thank you. Upon examination of opinion witness that finding the offense charge were committed, and that there's probable cause the lead defendant committed those offenses. Okay, so Mr. Serrano, are you ready to proceed?
Ready on all matters, Your Honor, yes.
Is this Mr. Zempel? Okay, and this is Mr. Zempel, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, we are going on the record in the matter of the state of Michigan versus Thomas Michael Zempel, 231698. And appearance, counsel?
Your Honor, good afternoon. Richard T. Serrano, P33828. I appear as MITC counsel for arraignment purposes only on behalf with my client who appears in custody via Zoom. We have no objection. And please state your name, sir. Or Your Honor, we require formal reading on all charges, please. Please state your name,
Okay,
sir.
Mr.
Thomas Michael Zempel.
Okay, the complaint alleges on July 6th of this year in the city of Wyandotte, it alleges there you have this is 3-count complaint, sir. Count 1, controlled substance delivery manufacturer of methamphetamine. It's alleged on the date I just indicated in the city of Wyandotte that you did deliver and or possess with intent to deliver the controlled substance methamphetamine contrary to MCL 333.74012 BI. This is a felony charge. Maximum penalty upon conviction, not more than 20 years in state prison and or a $25,000 fine. Count 2, controlled substance possession of methamphetamine or ecstasy. The complaint alleges on the same date and location that you did knowingly or intentionally possess methamphetamine contrary to MCL 333.74032 BI. This is a felony charge. Maximum penalty upon conviction, not more than 10 years in state prison and or a $15,000 fine. Count 3, controlled substance possession, cocaine, heroin, or another narcotic less than 25 grams. The complaint alleged on the same date and location that you did knowingly or intentionally possess less than 25 grams of a mixture containing the controlled substance cocaine, contrary to MCL 333.74032 AB. It's a felony charge. Maximum penalty upon conviction, not more than 4 years in state prison and or a $25,000 fine. Habitual offender, third offense notice. Take notice the defendant was twice previously convicted by felony or an attempt to commit a felony that on or about December 7, 2015, he is convicted of the offense of operating a lab involving meth in violation of MCL 333.7401C2F in the Third Circuit Court, Wayne County. And that on or about August 24, 2017, he was convicted of the offense of operating a lab involving meth in violation of MCL 7401C2F in the Third Circuit Court. Therefore, defendant subject to the penalties provided by MCL 769.11. That penalty would be twice the maximum sentence on a primary offense or lesser term. Maximum penalty cannot be less than the maximum term for a first conviction. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right. Sir, you have the right to have an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, the court will appoint one to represent you. In fact, you've had an opportunity to speak to an attorney today, correct?
Yes.
The court assigned the order for court-appointed attorney for felony purposes. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to have a trial by a judge or by a jury. You also have the right to remain silent. Anything you say orally or in writing may be used against you in court. Do you understand those rights, sir?
Yes.
The court's going to enter plea of not guilty on your behalf. Schedule this matter for a probable cause conference on July 14th at 9 a.m. at the 28th District Court.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry?
Could I say, I have a job, I work out of Riverview, and I use my boss's truck to come home so that I could go back to work. No drugs were ever in that or ever.
Hold on, sir. Hold on. Stop just a moment. Your attorney's going to address that.
Okay, well,
And so, counsel,
took his truck.
Sir, stop talking for a few moments. You have an attorney that's going to do some speaking for you.
Okay, thank you.
So it'll be just a little bit before you can tell me what you want to tell me.
Okay.
Okay. And so counsel, as to bond.
Your Honor, my client does affirm that he has one case pending in Wayne County on a felony matter. Nature of the same charges as these. He's told me that he has private counsel for that case, but he's maybe seeking court-appointed counsel for this case. So he started to tell you he is working. Your Honor, he's a resident of the area. He's single, he sports no children. He says he's never missed a court date before. That's about all I can say in his favor, Your Honor, because the court well knows that he's had cases like this before, some criminal history. But we ask the court to use its discretion. If not a personal bond, that a bond you can reasonably expect to post, I'm sure the court will impose some conditions as well. Thank you.
I have a GPS tether right now.
He does have a tether, yes.
Which doesn't seem to be doing much good at this point, but in any event, Detective Sergeant Grote, your name for the record, please.
Your Honor, Detective Sergeant Ken Grote. Your Honor, Mr. Zempel is currently on a tether for Wayne County. It is our understanding, speaking to the Trenton Police Department that's in charge of the investigation, that Mr. Zempel took a plea deal and was to be sentenced to 20 years in prison starting June 30th, but that was moved to 2 weeks into July. He was going to be sentenced, so it appears he's going to be sent to prison. We're afraid he's going to flee the state. We hear he's getting evicted out of his apartment. Obviously, he hasn't learned his lesson. He has a long criminal history of making meth and selling meth and using meth. We feel that he's a dangerous to society. We'll ask for $1 million cash.
Okay, so I just have a couple of questions. So the case that Mr. Zempel is being sentenced to 4 to 20 years in state prison. It appears as though, so all of those cases are out of Trenton?
Yes, ma'am.
And so am I looking at this correctly, where one of these cases originated December 18th of 2021, another one August 30th of 2022, and then another one September 25th of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And so then these were all combined together?
I believe there's one, I believe they were all combined together. That's how we came up with the deal. One is a over 50 case also.
And then there's another one from March 5th of this year. Is that included in that resolution?
I'm not sure.
Mr. Zempel, is that one also included in that resolution?
I'm not sure which one. Was it the one where there were, they found crumbs? There was like, it was the charge me with possession, but there wasn't even enough to test. I think it was pretzel salt they were claiming was meth. I don't know. They tasted it and it tasted like meth, I guess. I don't know. I'm not even sure.
I don't know, sir. Sir, listen. You have multiple cases from the same jurisdiction, and so clearly you can't keep those straight either. But what that tells me is that you've been out on bond on all of those matters and still violating bond, but yet you're still out on bond and not in custody.
Okay. I'm a drug addict.
And now, oh, sir, it seems to be you're more than a drug addict according to what you've pled guilty to and your previous convictions.
It was either that or I could get a lot more time.
What?
It was either plead to the 4 to 20 or I could get a 10 to life. So I took the 4 to 20 versus the 10 to life.
Well, in 2019, you pled guilty to habitual offender fourth offense. So perhaps the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office missed that when they charged you as the third offense as opposed to the fourth offense. However,
either way, I'm going to die in prison.
Well, either way, sir, prison has not helped you not reoffend.
I need rehab. I don't need prison. I need a rehab. And they never give me rehab.
Sir, I think at this point, given the charges, that you've been operating a meth lab, you have 2 of those convictions, and that your convictions that you just pled guilty on were possession, delivery, manufacture,
which was wrong.
delivery, manufacture, delivery, manufacture, possession, possession. I think you're pretty well beyond the rehab at this point. But in any event, the court will note that given your criminal history, the plea deal that you just took, that's the same type of case that you are charged with now. You're scheduled for sentencing in a couple of weeks to be sentenced to 4 to 20 years in prison. And while you're awaiting sentencing on that, it's alleged that you've committed the exact same type of offense. Not to mention, your criminal history would suggest that while you're out on bond, you're still violating the law multiple times over with the same offense that you are out on bond for. So, for those purposes, the court's going to remand you without bond. And so you can be sentenced while you're in custody.
Do you think you could give my boss a truck back since it was never used for anything to do with drugs?
Was the vehicle forfeited?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well then your boss is gonna have to go through the process, sir.
We spoke.
That's bullshit. It was parked on the street. I only used it to drive
I'm
home.
sorry, what is it you just said, sir?
I said I only used the truck to drive home, and that's it.
No,
I didn't have no drugs in it.
Before that.
I don't know.
Okay, well, as the court indicated, you're being remanded without bond based upon your criminal history, the fact that you're awaiting sentencing on the same type of charges that you have, I believe, 4 or 5 different cases that arose from the same jurisdiction, the 33rd District Court. For some reason, the 3rd Circuit Court did not find it necessary to remand you while you're awaiting sentencing, and then here you are yet again. You have 2 previous convictions as well for operating a meth lab. So for those reasons, the court's remanding you without bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And the detectives are in touch with your boss, sir. All right, thank you. We're going to be off the record.
I won't be talking to my boss.